The Gospel of Gold by G.S. Lewis. All too soon, the ferry reached Olivine Port, and the disembark call was announced. As Gold joined the line that passed down the gangplank, he surveyed the scenery ahead. What he saw caused a plummeting sensation in his stomach. A collection of 5 or 6 police officers was spread along the wider path leading into the city proper ahead, and to the left where the beach began. In fact, the only direction available to Gold was right, a path that dead-ended at the lighthouse. Trying to think fast and at the same time quell his panic, Gold weighed his options. He could pass along with the crowd and hope not to be noticed until he reached Olivine Gym. No, bad call. If Karen had arranged this situation, and of course she had, they would be her cops, and their singular objective would be to search him and snatch him. He could approach one of the patrolmen deliberately and loudly announce in public sight that he was looking for Jasmine so that he could deliver her medicine. If they tried to take him then, the crowd might protest. The sick lighthouse Pokemon had to be well known to them. But what if Karen had played him and gone ahead with medicating Amphi after all? It would look bad, to say the least. If hiding and announcing himself were both out of the question, then there remained but one choice. Gold flicked his eyes back to the lighthouse. No visible guards were stationed in that direction. It was possible that they were merely shepherding him that way before they closed in, but the lighthouse was also the most likely place Jasmine would be. Even if she wasn't, Amphi would be. Trap or no trap, he could not leave without trying to save the poor creature. Strengthened in his resolve, Gold broke from the mainstream crowd and jutted off to the right. In his peripheral vision, he thought he saw one of the cops turn to follow, but he did not run. He walked briskly, heart hammering, eyes set on the open lighthouse doorway ahead. It took less than 30 seconds to reach the entrance, but the tension made the walk seem longer than the entire ferry trip. Resisting the temptation to glance over his shoulder, Gold swept the first floor's interior with one look. There wasn't much to see, except for a set of stairs off to his right and an elevator straight ahead. The building was quite a tall obelisk, and if he was being chased, the pursuit party would split here. Some would take the stairs, some the elevator. If he tried the stairs, he would be cut off before he ever reached the pinnacle. The elevator might take longer to arrive, but he was already pressing the call button before his mind was fully made up. The double doors parted with a ding. The coach had been on the ground floor already. Relieved, but still incredibly tense, Gold ducked inside and jammed his finger against the button for the top floor. Just as the doors were closing, he looked out to see the sight he had feared. 2 officers were marching through the entryway where he had been 10 seconds ago. For the briefest of moments, one of them made eye contact with him and reached for the radio on his belt. It was all Gold saw before the doors snapped shut and the lift activated. Speculation was a thing of the past. Gold knew now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the hunt was on. There was no way he wouldn't be caught now. Karen had this trap set for him the moment he'd boarded the ferry, if not sooner. In a small corner of his mind, a voice chided him. You know what would have been really helpful right about now? A Pokemon that could surf or fly. You couldn't have just been a Pokemon trainer like Dad wanted, huh? The elevator lurched to a sudden stop, and there was another ding as the doors opened, revealing the lighthouse room beyond. It was narrow and bright, surrounded by walls of glass that let in the sun's rays, creating a warm greenhouse effect. In the room's center sat twin metal cones, one facing upward and the other down over it. This, Gold assumed, was the device that augmented the light source of Olavine's tower. At the base lay the source itself, gurgling and wheezing. It was primarily yellow in coloration, with black stripes and a white underbelly. It had a lava lamp-shaped torso, with a lengthy neck and tail on the ends. A tired-looking woman sat with it, cradling the creature's head in her lap. If Gold had never seen an Ampharos before, still he would have recognized this as Amphi, the dying Pokémon. As we expected, he thought grimly, Karen didn't deliver the medicine. The woman looked up with bleary eyes, and Gold recalled her face from Chuck's video phone. Jasmine, the 6th gym leader of Johto. She was a young woman, but the bags beneath her eyes and the lines of worry seemed to age her 20 years. Without them, she would have been breathtakingly beautiful, yet they conveyed her inner beauty with just a glance. Jasmine clearly had not been sleeping lately, instead devoting all her time and energy to the sick Pokémon beside her. In that moment, Gold felt deeply moved by her compassion. He did not hear the elevator close and descend behind him, nor did he think about the guards that were pursuing him. All that mattered was the mission, and rewarding Jasmine's long-suffering wait. He stepped forward, and she looked to him and the potion he carried in his hands. Hope surged onto her face. "Will that medicine cure Amphi?" Straight to the point, Gold nodded and moved to kneel by her at Amphi's head. However, Jasmine put out a hand, stopping him with an apologetic expression. Please don't be offended," she said meekly, her voice trailing off. "Amphi will not take anything from anyone but me." Of course, Gold thought, passing the secret potion to her. Whoever had administered the medicine last time only got Amphi sicker. Small wonder he'd be suspicious. Jasmine unstopped the container, and Gold backed away a few steps to give the two space. His attention was abruptly distracted by the whirring of an electric motor, and he looked nervously at the display over the twin doors. The up arrow was glowing. "Miss Jasmine!" he cried, as his heart's tempo increased again. "The police are after me! I think they're going to try to get me for carrying that stuff! You'll clear it up for me, won't you?" Considering where the priorities lay in the moment, Gold felt selfish as soon as he heard the words leave his mouth. However, he heard Jasmine's reply behind him like it was nothing. "Certainly. Miss Karen told me to expect medicine soon, but I was getting worried it wouldn't come. I'll vouch for you." The statement should have made Gold feel better, but the mention of Karen's name again was not reassuring. Eyes locked on the elevator, he listened with growing apprehension as the coach drew nearer and nearer. Without warning, a sudden strangled gagging issued behind him, and Jasmine's frenzied voice. "Oh no! Amphi! What's wrong? Amphi!" Gold turned with dread to look. The Ampharos was thrashing and gurgling on the ground as a bubbling foam poured from its mouth. It looked, for all the world, as though it had just been given a fast-acting poison. At the same moment, the ding of the elevator tolled its death knell, and two uniformed officers stepped out. One assessed the room with a glance, but the other caught Gold's eye. He recognized her face and that cropped red hair. "Son of a bitch," murmured the first officer, starting for Gold. "I knew we should have acted sooner! What did you do?" Amphi had stopped making sounds, But now it was replaced with a different horrible noise. A fresh, grief-stricken wail from Jasmine, deprived at last of all her hope. As her agonized cries smote Gold like a hammer, his sensations grew numb, barely registering his arms being wrenched behind his back, and cold cuffs locked onto his wrists. The red-headed woman had crossed the room to pick something up, but now she returned, holding the secret potion container. The same potion she had passed to Gold barely an hour ago.